All right, we are live. What is going on, guys? It is a special Sunday night edition of the RCWR Show. I'm your host right here, Lee Sanders. Sorry, we got a little bit of a delay. You guys got to bear with me. I am trying something new here, as the way I am doing the show for our live audience that's checking out the web stream. I am actually testing out the new YouTube Studio beta. So I'm trying to get familiar with this whole thing. You guys gotta bear with me because there's about, from what I'm able to see right now in real time at my end, it looks like from the time I say, okay, I'm ready to go live, there is about a 30-second delay. Hopefully I can kind of tweak that for a little bit. So if you saw me kind of looking awkward there, now you know what the hell was going on. But welcome, covering the latest in wrestling entertainment and beyond since 2011. You are checking out the RCWR Show. Your host right here. Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me, Lee Sanders. We are talking WWE Money in the Bank. This pay-per-view is now in the books. Holy, what the flying the fuck did we just witness tonight? We need to try and make sense out of everything that just came about with this pay-per-view that is just a couple of minutes removed. My God, come on, let's try to make sense out of all this. Now, look, before I get ready to jump right into this bad boy, and I do want to get through a lot of these matches as quick as possible for you guys, because I know there's probably some of you guys that maybe have your Game of Thrones on the DVR, or maybe you got the basketball game on the DVR and you want to try to hurry up and enjoy yourselves before it gets a little bit too late. So we are going to go through these matches as quick as humanly possible, but I do want to bring to you all's attention, I do have a poll that's up right now asking you all, what did you think about tonight's pay-per-view event? For those of you that did see the pay-per-view event, sound off. We have it on the communities tab over on the YouTube channel. We also have the poll available on Twitter, and we have it available on our Facebook page as well. All right. And if you're not connected on the Facebook and the Twitter, please connect already. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. All right. And we'll check out how that polling is going in just a little bit. I know some of you guys like when we go from the top and we work our way down to the bottom. Nah, man, we gotta go right for the nitty and the gritty. We gotta go right for the juggler. We gotta go for that ending. Okay, all right, so let's process this, all right? Brock Lesnar returns. Brock frickin' Lesnar returns. And he doesn't just return. He returns in such epic fashion. It's not even funny. Okay, I mean, first of all, that men's Money in the Bank match, that was a freaking classic. I enjoyed that. My hat, and I don't have my hat right now. I usually wear my hat, but I got to. If I had a hat, I would take it off to all of those men that were involved in that men's Money in the Bank. I got to give it up to Ricochet. I even got to give it up to Drew McIntyre, who really rose to the occasion. I really, really do. And I want to home in on him in just a little bit. Baron Corbin, that is another one that really rose to the occasion. I said it some weeks back. This guy is continuing to grow on me every single week. I let it be no secret, because I remember at one point on social media, he inadvertently was tagged. I didn't tag him, but it was a listener that had tagged him and was trying to get my thoughts about him or whatever. And I pretty much was candid, backing up everything that I've said up to this point. But he really has been making great strides. He is coming along, but I got to give him a lot of props. Ali, I don't care if we're just calling him Ali. He is still Mustafa Ali as far as I'm concerned. He, phenomenal. Finn Balor, Andrade, Orton, everybody fucking amazing. Now, you noticed all of those names that I just said, and for some of you guys that did not see the pay-per-view, you're probably saying, well, what about Sami Zayn? Let's set this up properly as we're talking about this men's Money in the Bank match, right? So, earlier in the night, we're going out of order, but that's okay. Earlier in the night, we see Sami Zayn. He interrupts Triple H, and he says to him, hey, look, you know, I'm a little bit concerned about Braun Strowman, everything that me and Drew and Baron, you know, the numbers that we did on him. Well, look, I can't really speak for those guys because, hey, man, they kind of hung me out to dry. It's whatever. But I'm speaking on behalf of me. I am just a little bit leery about Braun Strowman, right? Come on, is there anything you could do? Maybe some protection? And Triple H tells him, hey, you don't have to worry about Braun Strowman because Braun has been given the night off. He's not even allowed to step foot on the premises. So you don't have anything to worry about. That does not make Sami feel okay. Sami says, well, how about we do a little better than that? How about some extra protection? Triple H pretty much tells him, you want protection? Just go on ahead, tighten up them fists of yours, put some more tape on them, go out there. Your match is going to be coming up soon. Leave me alone. That pretty much was it, right? So a couple of matches later, we go to a backstage segment. And we see Triple H is literally running. What's up, Steve? What's up? He is literally running backstage. I guess there were some officials, what have you. They were like, hey, man, you got to come check out Sami Zayn. Something's wrong with Sami. So he goes, checks it out. Sami is hanging upside down, almost like a freaking crucifix, if you will. He's just hanging knocked out cold, right? He's like hanging up on some type of a steel fence structure or something like that, if I remember right. You all would have to correct me. And so he's out cold. Triple H at that point, he tells the cameras to get away. They shouldn't be seeing this. That's pretty much the end of it. All right. So you're looking at that and you're automatically saying, well, shit, that was Braun Strowman. Braun surely did that, right? So a little bit later on in the night, Triple H finally crosses paths with Braun Strowman and he tells him, hey, I'm aware of what you did to Sami Zayn. Braun Strowman says, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything to Sami. Okay, well, if you can roll like that, if that's how you want to roll, that's fine. But come on, look, I'm speaking as your boss, and I'm giving you some really solid advice right now. It is a request. No, it is an order. I want for you to go on ahead, and I want for you to leave right now. Leave. You're done for the rest of the night. Do me that favor. So Braun Strowman says, whatever. So he rolls out. That is the very last time that we see of Braun Strowman. So now we go to this freaking insane clinic of a men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, bodies were just crashing through the ladders, and I did not expect these guys to go all balls out. I mean, it almost, and to those of you that have been watching the WWE product for a long period of time, did it not feel as though, what's up, Strack? Did it not feel as though what we were watching with that main event was doing the time warp again? Because it literally felt like we were going back almost to the mid 2000s, maybe the late 2000s or whatever. Those guys, I mean, my God, it was almost like they were possessed by the younger spirits of Matt and Jeff Hardy, of frickin' Edge and Christian, Team 3D. It was almost kind of that type of a vibe going on with this men's ladder match. And I ate every single minute of it. I gotta tell you, as I was watching this match, I've got it playing on my tablet, and I'm in front of the computer, and I'm just getting my show notes ready, trying to figure out what all key points I want to bring up and everything that should be of interest to you guys as well. And I just have this match playing in the background. What's up, Austin? I'm thinking to myself, this match is going to be mediocre. I don't really have to trip over it. It's all good, right? But the more and more I just glanced at the freaking tablet watching this, the more and more I'm like, wait a minute now, this is actually pretty damn fucking good. This was a really good, I would have to say, I would dare say, putting the finish to the side, I would have to say that men's Money in the Bank ladder match was fucking phenomenal. I would dare say it in part, as well as the AJ Styles taking on the Seth Rollins match, which we'll talk a lot more about later, those two combined really had helped the pay-per-view overall, because there were some, the hell was that? We'll dive into that in just a hot second. But all of these guys put on a freaking clinic. The way that they were going in there and sacrificing their freaking bodies, man. I mean, that was just insane. From one person being on top of the ladder and Randy Orton just wham, RKO out of freaking nowhere to that freaking power bomb that had went down. Who did the power bomb again? Did Andrade? Was it Andrade that did the power bomb to Finn Balor? If my memory is a little bit fuzzy, I gotta rely on you guys because again, I was multitasking, getting ready for you guys. But those guys just six spots all throughout. Loved it. Ate every single minute of it. I mean, so you're seeing all of this carnage that is happening in this match, and you're going, how is this going to end? Who could possibly rise to the occasion and get this briefcase? Because damn near every single one of these guys are dead. Cue up the music of Brock Lesnar, and you're going, wait a minute. It's a joke, right? You gotta be freaking joking, right? No, it was actually freaking Brock Lesnar himself. Paul Heyman escorting him, all of that craziness. And I tell you what, seeing Brock Lesnar just come down there. Did you guys see that sweet ass spot where Brock Lesnar, right before he gets in the ring, he pushes viciously the hell out of the freaking ladders? And the ladders hit the freaking camera guys. Did you guys see that? If you guys didn't watch the pay-per-view yet, or maybe you missed it, and you really were excited about that match the way I was, I would challenge you guys to go back and check it out. Watch when Brock Lesnar comes out, and it's right when he gets down to the ramp, and as he's making his way into the ring, he freaking just, get the hell out of my way. The way he just moves the freaking ladder, and it hits the cameraman. I'm pretty sure it almost hit like two of those guys. And I think Oscar's bringing it up in the chat as far as the bouncing of the ladder. Yeah, it hit at least, if I'm not mistaken, two of those guys. One really caught a great significant impact of that. But we see Brock Lesnar pretty much go in there, does a little bit of carnage. I don't even remember at this point who all was in there. I just remember this guy and just, I'm frozen. I'm like, what am I seeing right before my very eyes? And Brock Lesnar just climbs up on top of the ladder, grabs that Money in the Bank briefcase, and that is pretty much it. I mean, it was pretty much easy pickings for the Beast Incarnate. Brock Lesnar is your new Mr. Money in the Bank winner. Your champion, whatever the hell you want to call it. If I'm not mistaken, as long as I've been following the career of Brock Lesnar, this is the first time he's won a Money in the Bank, right? And so that's just crazy. That is just crazy of all the finishes, right? And leave it to WWE to go this route and create this shock value and awe and everything. Because when you really stop and you think about it, look at what WWE was competing with tonight. Now, look, you guys got to forgive me because I'm not a fan of baseball. I don't have any beef or any problems with baseball or anything like that. So if there was a significant, really important game that was on, I don't know anything about that. You all would have to enlighten me and the listeners. But we've got NBA playoffs. We've got the series finale of Game of Thrones. That's a lot of real estate that's happening tonight. So a lot of competition that WWE was dealing with. So you're kind of led to the impression that, well, maybe WWE is just going to kind of go a little, we're not going to really have that many eyes on us. Let's just really look forward towards the Saudi Arabia joint. Let's just go towards that. And, it is what it is. I really was not expecting them to do the type of shock value that they did tonight, right? And I got to commend them for that. Now, putting all of that to the side, let's also look at the Brock Lesnar effect. Ratings have shown that every single time Brock Lesnar is involved on an episode of Raw, what have you, he's involved on a pay-per-view, it gets more buzz. I don't know what it is. And you know what? As big of a Brock Lesnar fan that I am, even I will be among the first to tell you that there are some moments where you just go, the same old typical Brock shit, right? whatever. Okay, let's freshen this up a little bit. Let's do a little something, But seeing Brock Lesnar and just picturing in my mind how the ratings have been for these shows. Let's be honest, these shows, SmackDown, Raw, they've been hitting some pretty low numbers, all right? And we all can go on ahead. We can blame the writers, of which the writers are now letting their voices be heard through respected sources saying, hey, everybody's got it all wrong. We're doing what we can. We're doing our part. We're coming up with tight shit. It's just that one person is freaking making all of the decisions. Basically, somebody or too many people is all up in one person's ear that whatever was laid out originally, it's just, so on the one hand, we could blame the writers. We could blame creative booking, or we could blame just one individual. No matter the case, when you look at the ratings, it just has not been good. Even after they do this whole superstar shakeup thingamajigger, that went over like a wet fart, right? A lot of people are thinking, okay, so now Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. Hey, all right, so that's going to... No, what happened? The SmackDown ratings for when it was revealed Big Dog got drafted over to SmackDown, those ratings were poor. Now, some people thought, well, no, you know what? A lot of people didn't really know that Roman was going to be on SmackDown. Let's see how it goes next week. Well, next week, you still had got pretty crappy numbers. But history has shown every single time Brock Lesnar is involved on one of those shows, they get decent ratings. Now, keeping that in mind, unless you're going to give Brock Lesnar X amount of money to have him show up every single damn week, it's safe to assume that Brock Lesnar is going to have the same type of deal that he's had in the previous years. All right? So you're lucky. You're probably going to get, let's just say, for example, you do 10 episodes of Raw. If you're lucky, you maybe get Brock Lesnar for 2. Maybe 2 of those. So what are you going to do the rest of the time? So it's almost like the same vicious cycle that we all have experienced collectively since we've been seeing Brock Lesnar back in the WWE this go round, right? Right. Now, how does this make sense in a way where it's not the same old stale shit? Well, the only thing that makes all the sense in the world as far as having Brock Lesnar where he is, the Fox deal. I personally feel everything, and I'm not saying anything that I haven't been saying like the gospel for some weeks now. You got this move that's happening with Fox this fall. Fox has already let it be known, hey, WWE, as far as the target age demographics we want for y'all to tackle, hey, we want this, hey, we expect for you guys to hit this type of number with your product. We want it to be more mature because, look, man, you're tapping into the demographics that know us as far as football and UFC and all that. So, we want some, if you can, spare some big, heavy names. So, come on. We can use common sense here. It's safe to say that WWE is trying to do everything they can to please the Fox executives for when they get this show known as SmackDown this fall. So, the long-term plan, just the way I'm feeling it right now, this is a smart move on so many levels. It's a smart move because you gave Brock Lesnar the Money in the Bank briefcase. So now without a shadow of doubt, okay, well, at some point, we're going to be seeing Brock Lesnar. We know we're going to be seeing him at that next Saudi Arabia event, right? So we know we're going to be seeing him with that. But then just going forward past that, periodically we're going to be seeing this guy. He's going to be picking the time. He's going to be picking the place, right? I would not be surprised. And this is the thing. We've yet to get an official date. Maybe I missed it. I'll have to rely on you all. But we've yet to get an official date on when SmackDown is moving to Fox. I bring that up because I would like to believe that whatever the respected pay-per-view is, maybe a couple of days, a week, or whatever, right before they make the move to Fox, I would like to believe that Brock Lesnar is maybe going to win the title like before. And then when they make the move to Fox, Brock is already going to be your champion, and then you can pretty much go from there. But I don't want people to get all bent out of shape seeing this, because, come on, everybody that I saw online tonight was like legit shocked. I didn't really see that many people that were taking a massive shit on this, but I would suspect that people did end up taking a shit on this, because once the excitement, the shock subdued, it's, well, wait a minute. Okay, so now what? I do not see him cashing this briefcase on the Raw champion. I do not see that happening whatsoever. I think it's going to happen over on the SmackDown side, which makes all the sense in the world. And I'm totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. Because if you're going to go and have Brock Lesnar cash it in on the Raw champion, you're basically repeating the vicious cycle all over again of what we've been seeing of Brock Lesnar on the Raw side of the deal, no pun intended, these past couple of years now. So I would like to believe that the way WWE has Brock Lesnar positioned right now, it is to do nothing more than really bring the eyes, more eyes. And it's smart when you really stop and think about it, because if you've watched Fox, you watch FS1, FS2, you know how sports oriented that these guys were. So they still got that demographic that's there, even though UFC is no longer there. You still got that hardcore majority male, right, base. So it's smart the way that they've got this set up. So I'm happy with how this is laid out. The only thing I can say to all of you, let's just kick back and let's not take a shit on this. Let's just see how everything pans out, right? I'm sure you guys can understand from a business standpoint why they're doing what they're doing. They're just trying to do everything they can to kick things off strong with the blue brand. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, so great shock and value for that. That was just wow. All right, let's talk about the pre-show. Pre-show was actually pretty decent. Who made the pre-show up, by the way? I know it was Charlie Caruso. We had my man, oh God, I know Beth Phoenix was there. Jonathan Coachman was there. Sam Roberts was there. And David Otunga was there. All of their chemistries was on point. You know, one thing though, I don't know if it's happened yet on social media, but somebody needs to tell Charlie, do not wear a lime green outfit again, because she is just setting herself for for Adobe special effects, man. Sony Vegas, all that shit. She's really setting herself up. I would like to believe that somebody looked at her outfit and they've got like a fucking Star Wars scene playing out on her freaking body, right? Like, you can't wear stuff like that because you're exposing yourself to some funny ass GIFs, videos, the whole 9 yards, right? So I have a feeling that somebody will probably get in her ear and let her know. But I'm curious, did you guys see any spoofs tonight with her outfit? Because I'm telling you, I'm looking at her outfit, and look, she is gorgeous. Do not get me wrong. She is gorgeous. She can rock anything. I think if you put Charlie Caruso on out there in a paper bag outfit, she still is going to rock it like I don't know what. She's going to just be looking oh so fine in that bad boy. But I couldn't help but see her in the lime green outfit and go, okay, you look attractive, but me being the geek that I am, with freaking chrome key and video editing and all that, I'm going, my God, your freaking outfit is a goddamn green screen backdrop for our editing pleasure. What the hell, man? But I thought they all did pretty good on the pre-show this go round. I'm trying to think, did we? Yes, we did. We did get a pre-show matchup, didn't we? It was the Usos taking on Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, non-title matchup. Pretty decent matchup. You know, I was kind of thinking about it in retrospect, wondering, should this match had played on the actual card itself? And the answer, no. The placement of it was just fine. I know some people's feathers were maybe a little bit ruffled the wrong way because, oh man, Daniel Bryan on the pre-show, what the hell? That's so disrespectful. Blah this, blah that. That's too easy of a carrot for me to bite. You know, it's kind of like, no, hey, could we had used Daniel Bryan on the actual card itself? I think that's just a matter of personal preference, quite honestly. I think what most people should have been talking about, though, is, hey, where was the revival? I'm just a sucker for good old-fashioned storyline continuity. So you had Usos these past couple of weeks trolling the revival, doing that stupid ass, ooh, see, huh? Right? You got them doing that stupid shit. And the one time you would think, well, hey, you know what? Makes a lot of sense, even if it's a little bit too predictable, right? At least you can go, okay, well, from a story continuity standpoint, okay, the rivalry is continuing between these two tag teams, right? Okay, that's no problem. I'm down with that. For me, it was rather, wow, that they did not have the revival come out there and somehow cheat the Usos out of picking up the victory over Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. You guys would have to help me clear the cobwebs a little bit, but if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, they cleanly won. I mean, there was no weird shenanigans or anything like that. They pretty much, I'm sorry, I think I gave the winners, I said the wrong winners. I think I said that wrong. Usos cleanly defeating Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. I did not understand that whatsoever. But you know what? It was a decent match for a pre-show. A decent match. I'll give it that. But other than that, let's go to the actual card itself. So by the way, before I move on to the actual pay-per-view card, one other spot that I did enjoy, I ate it up like a mother. The Zelina Vega Sonya Deville spot on the pre-show. I enjoyed seeing both of those women going back and forth. I'm telling you what, if that was WWE's way of letting us know what was going to be next for both of those women, I'm fine for that. I mean, I was really invested into their exchange. I thought organically what they were able to do right there, I love that. I love that tremendously. And shout out to Ray Carson. Yes, indeed. Rest in peace to Ashley Mazzaro. It was nice that WWE had did the whole graphic spot and everything. We're going to talk a lot more about her on this coming week's RCWR show, which you guys will be able to check out this Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We're temporarily on Wednesday nights until the NBA season is wrapped up. They're doing the playoffs right now. I believe the finals begins. I'm tempted to say the finals. I remember my buddy Marcus. I think he might have said the finals begins May 30th or something like that. Because I remember saying to him, oh, it's not in June this year. He said, no, it's happening a bit earlier because they got something else that was coming up that he had told me about. Can't remember what it was now, but so we're temporarily on Wednesdays until this NBA season is over. Then we'll go on back to our Tuesdays. Don't worry we'll remind you as it gets a little bit closer, but for now we're on Wednesdays. We'll talk a lot more about Ashley Mazzaro for sure, but tonight we're just strictly talking about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Hey, let's talk about that Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I love the women's Money in the Bank. That was great. That was great. I was a little bit concerned about my girl Carmella though, because I saw that spot that happened with the ladder and let's set this up properly. So Carmella had just done an attack on Bayley. And I'm trying to think what happened after that. I remember she went for the ladder. And I'm trying not to really look in the chat because sadly, I'm still going to watch it. But I did have the game recorded. So for those of you that maybe are kind of looking at the chat room and you have the game on DVR, don't look at the chat room right now. As a matter of fact, I'll do you guys a solid And Carson, I know you meant no disrespect, but I'm going to remove that comment because I know that there's some people that got the shows and all that on the DVR and they actually like to go back, and I'm that same way. It depends. I'm that same way. So I'm not going to spoil it for you guys if you got the NBA game recorded. But anyway, Guy, can we get back to the Money in the Bank? Let me just fly through the Money in the Bank. Carmella spot. I was a little bit concerned about that because after she just got done attacking Bayley, she then went for this freaking ladder. And the ladder, I'm looking at this and I'm not really thinking too much of it, but I'm looking and I'm going, okay, she's kind of hanging around a little bit too long. Is she waiting for something to happen? I didn't really think too much of it. I thought maybe I was overanalyzing or whatever, but next thing I know, we freaking see, who was it? Carmella. Oh God, Carmella, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose comes in and she kicks the ladder. And the next thing you know, you see poor Carmella, she's hurt. You know, she's grabbing her ankle or knee and all that shit. And you're going, oh, that doesn't look good. And then Mandy tries to attack Carmella twice as Carmella goes to the side apron and she's trying to check herself out, figure out what the hell's going on. And freaking Mandy Rose is trying to attack her. And you see Carmella push Mandy and say, my leg. Mandy tries to go for another attack like, this is a part of the show. What the hell? And Carmella pushes her again. And it's like, my leg. And so finally Carmella just drops, rolls out. And Mandy's kind of standing there like, okay, I'm not really sure I know what to do now. So I thought that was really weird in itself. Now, Carmella would come back out later, but I tell you what, if that was not a case where Carmella did get injured or whatever, if that was just part of the show and Carmella was just doing what she was instructed to do, that was some good ass acting on her part. She sold the fuck out of that as far as I was concerned. I loved that little spot. I was a little bit concerned about her, but once I saw her come back out, I was like, okay, all right, she's good, whatever. My girl Amber Moon doing the fucking eclipse from off the ladder, that was an insane sick spot. I ate that up. I enjoyed that. That was crazy. I loved seeing my girl Mandy Rose get helped by Sonya Deville at one point, as poor Mandy Rose is just pretty much out of it. I mean, it's almost like she's out cold or whatever. You got Sonya Deville that pretty much just picks her up, puts her over her shoulders, is climbing up the ladder and kind of trying to wake her up, push her on up there. Mandy's finally coming around and and it looks as though she's getting ready to grab this briefcase when all of a sudden Bayley climbs up, mean mugging them like I don't know what, and just pushes both of them off of the ladder, climbs up to the top, grabs that Money in the Bank briefcase. Bayley, your Money in the Bank briefcase winner. That was great. That all was just, I ate that up. And when I was giving predictions, I got to go back and look at how I did. Because honestly, I can't tell you who all I had picked. I can't. I spent so much of earlier in the day chilling with family and friends, getting my drink on, that I totally forgot. Hey, make sure you write down your picks. And I didn't write down my picks from what I said on earlier show from this week, sadly. But anyway, I think I had said it was going to come down to Bayley and it was going to come down to Mandy. And I said, if you put me to the fire, I guess I would have to go with Mandy. Mandy was my choice. And I'm actually glad that they had went with Bayley instead. Now, you're looking at this and you can't help but say, man, was this a fuck you to Sasha Banks? Like, what the hell, man? That didn't seem like that was a cool spot or whatever, especially post-match. You've got the microphone in Bayley's face. I think it was Charlie Caruso that was interviewing Bayley. And you got the first Sasha Banks name drop. You're going, nah. And you wouldn't quite put it past WWE to kind of stick it to somebody, right? Like, this could have been you, but you're not here. So or whatever, right? But, putting that to the side, look, I've said this for a long time. Long-time listeners know this. When it comes to Bayley, I've always had a soft spot for her. Bayley, for me, and I've always used this analogy consistently. And so if you hear this, you know where it's from. Just in case maybe you hear this somewhere else, right? They might be copying, all right? But I've always said when it comes to Bayley, she has such a fluffy, bubbly, likable personality. She reminds me so much, if you're into your Saturday Night Live from back in the day, she reminds me a lot of the late Gilda Radner. That's exactly who she reminds me of a lot. Certain mannerisms and all that. It's just, the quirkiness about her and everything at times. That's what she reminds me of. So I've always had a soft spot for Bayley. And yeah, you know what? There was that period of time where it looked as though she was in a transitional period. What the hell's going on with her? What are they doing with Bayley? Hits all the demographics of what you need for age, for gender, right? Like, why aren't we building upon this more? I mean, this is tailor-made, especially when you think about all the Make-A-Wishes that she can do, all that. Like, man, it's right there. Silver platter, pretty ribbon on it, man. What's going on? And, yeah, she went through some growing pains and everything, but, to see her come out as the Money in the Bank winner, it was, okay, all right, cool. So now we see what's going on with her. Question is, when she does get ready to cash in this Money in the Bank briefcase, is she going to be successful? Well, we would find that out later on during the night. We'll talk about that in just a hot second. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead. Fuck it. We don't have to go into particular. Let's go ahead. It's a good transition, right? We'd find out later on in the night. We had the first matchup. Becky Lynch. Got my B's mixed up. Becky Lynch taking on Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's title. Let me tell you something, man. Lacey Evans, I've been a big fan of hers. I have given her nothing but praise. From the minute that I saw her on the Mae Young Classics from last year, I have nothing but praise for her. I'm really, and I had a brief interaction with somebody on social media, and I can't remember the person's name, but I remember there was something that she had posted on her Twitter that made me laugh hysterically, and I responded to her, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically what I said to her was, it was a compliment. It was a compliment and then encouragement. The compliment was basically, look at what she's been able to do in such a short turnaround, right? Hasn't even been on the roster for like a year, and she's been able to go out there and just look at where she is right now. For everything to just be coming at her so fast, just boom, 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 boom. And she's been able to adapt. She's been able to rise to the occasion. She's given these opportunities, and wham, right? She's doing the damn thing, right? I'm just taken back by that and really just going, wow, such great poise, right? Such great, man, confidence, just oozing confidence, right? If she is rattled in any type of way, you don't really know that much about it. And I told her, I said, good luck with your performance this Sunday. And somebody had came along, I can't remember the person's name, but they basically had said, she's not going to win. For me, it's not always as black and white as that. For me, it's not always about the wins and losses. For me, it's all about, okay, you're given an opportunity. Let's see if you can go out there, you can seize, smash, grab, and take that. Let's see what you can do with that, right? Rising to the occasion. And what I saw of Lacey Evans tonight, I enjoyed her. I saw some people saying, man, Lacey Evans is carrying the hell out of Becky Lynch. To each its own. I don't really, I'm not going to look at it like that. What I will do is, from an evaluation standpoint, say, okay, well, for Lacey Evans' first big major singles pay-per-view match, and not just any old singles pay-per-view match, but a singles pay-per-view match for a championship. She went out there and she wrestled like she's been a goddamn in-ring veteran for the WWE for like almost 10 years now. I was really, really taken back by her. Very impressed. Very impressed. And if she can just think about that for a second, take a step back. You know, yeah, you can say that maybe some of the costume design choices that she's coming out in, you can kind of question that a little bit. You could even take a little bit of digs at the southern accent and everything, right? You can even take a few shots at that, right? But man, you just put all that to the side and you watch what that woman can do in that ring. And my God, she can hang with the best of them. And if she can just, when you stop and think about it, if she's this good where she is right now, just imagine where she's going to be 6 months from now or even a year from now. The fact that she's been able to adapt so quickly. So I really got to commend her for the performance that she had tonight, you know, because for me, you know, it was really about, okay, this is it. This is your big test. How are you going to hang, right? This is the champion. This is the face. This is the one that is winning the hearts and of the fans every single week. And Becky Lynch, how are you going to be able to hold up with her? And you know what? It was refreshing to hear, you know, hardly any people, you know, once they got past the gimmick, all right, the bell rings and they were seeing what she was able to do in there. You didn't really hear people booing her. If anything, you kind of heard people and looking at some of the facial expressions in the crowd. Okay, this is actually a good match, right? Closing moments of that respected matchup. Referees, by the way, referees were just botching all over the place tonight. And I just was not understanding for the love of me what was going on with these referees, okay? By the way, you're checking out the RCWR Show. Your host right here, Lee Sanders, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. If you guys have been enjoying the show so far and you're new, welcome. Depending on whatever platform you're checking this out, make sure, if you have not done so already, you do hit the subscribe button. Shout out to our YouTube listeners. On top of hitting the subscribe button, click that bell notification so you always know about new content that comes your way. All right. And got the poll that's up right now asking you guys, what did you think about tonight's WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view event? We got it on YouTube, we got it on Twitter, and we got it on the Facebook page as well. So sound off and let your voice be heard. Continuing on, yes, the referees, very, very odd what was going on with these referees. So the first major, what's going on with the refs, I gotta go. Actually, no, this was the second. This was the second of a what's going on with the refs. So in this particular spot, closing moments, Lacey Evans, she actually did a chop block behind Becky. You're like, okay, all right. And I mean, her offense, very unorthodox. I really was taken back by a lot of the stuff that she was doing. I mean, she's so tall, but so athletic and very versatile. I was really, really impressed with a lot of what she was doing. I must say, I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I think if anything, what I'm surprised at is how much more experience she's been able to obtain since I saw her from the Mae Young and briefly doing her little thing in NXT and everything. But she did the chop block, and then from there, she pretty much decided, okay, let me go for a roll-up, and I can pretty much get the 1, 2, 3, boom, I'm the new Raw Women's Champion. So the referee is counting the 1, he's counting the 2, and then he leaps up, runs over to the other side, and then we see Lacey Evans just drop on her belly like a damn dead fish, right? Hey, I got a fish. Who is it? It's a live one. And the fish just flop, right? So we see her just lay out on the ground, and Becky Lynch is applying the disarmor, and just like that, the match is over, tap out. It was the most ugliest transition that I've seen. that just made me go, wait a minute, well, what the hell just happened here? It was really weird how they did that. Really, really weird. I did not appreciate that. It looked very sloppy. Very sloppy. I mean, it went 1, 2, ref jumps up, walks around basically like a fucking U, making the U shape. And then you go into the disarmor. Yeah, I just was not feeling that. So that for me was a refs. What the fuck is going on here? Right? All the other times, I'm not thinking about the referees. I'm not, even, once in a while it depends. Oh, Mike Chioda. Okay, cool. Yeah, should be a classic. Right? But this was a case where, damn, refs, what the fuck are you guys doing tonight? So, Becky Lynch retains her Raw Women's title. She gets out, she's celebrating. Next thing you know, Charlotte Flair comes on now, says, hey, come on, our match is next. Let's go. I want you right now. I don't want to wait till later. I want you right now. And I got to give a shout out to Corey Graves. As far as the commentating tonight, Corey Graves, he did phenomenal. I mean, he earned every single dollar in calling tonight's pay-per-view. I was really, really enjoying him. So much so, if Renee Young was saying anything kind of silly, I wasn't even aware of it. This was a night where I wasn't even counting how many times Renee was going, oh, ow, oh, man. It was one of those nights. So, Corey, shout out to you, brother. You did phenomenal tonight. Even Michael Cole kind of rose to the occasion a little bit. Just a little bit here and there. But I got to give more love to Corey Graves. So, Corey, one of the things that he said, Becky Lynch doesn't have to do this. She just did her match. She knows that she doesn't have to take on Charlotte Flair until later on in the night. She does not have to do this right now. And I loved how he just kept hitting that home. But fighting champion that Becky Lynch is, she went on ahead. Okay, all right, you want to do this match? Let's go ahead. Let's do this match. Another classic encounter with that one. You couldn't help but wonder if Lacey Evans was going to be a factor in this one at all. She was a factor. As a matter of fact, closing moments of this one while the ref was distracted, Lacey Evans pretty much did like a tap to Becky. Becky turned around. Wham! Got nothing but the woman's right. And we saw Charlotte Flair. She tried to go for the cover because she saw what Lacey Evans had did. She tried to go for the cover, only got a near fall. After that, Charlotte Flair said, okay, bump this, and basically waited for Becky to stand up, kicked her cold in the face. That did the trick, picked up the 3 count. Charlotte Flair became your 9-time women's champion. From there, we saw Lacey Evans and Charlotte proceed to double team on Becky. But then that would prompt Bayley to come on out. Bayley making quick work of Lacey Evans. How long is the question, right? We see her start to tuffle a little bit with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte gets the upper hand for a bit. And then while she has Bayley down on the ground, she goes over to one side of the ring in the corner. Looks as though maybe she's thinking about doing a spear. Waits for Bayley to get up. Bayley is struggling. She finally comes to, getting up on her own 2 feet. Charlotte charges, and Bayley pretty much uses Charlotte's momentum to send her crashing into corner ring post. That pretty much knocks Charlotte out cold. Charlotte out cold. Bayley now sees, hey, this is a great opportunity here. I like how it slowly just started to simmer for Bayley. Hey, I think I can cash in here. And sure enough, cashes in the briefcase, goes to the top, does the Bayley splash. 1, 2, 3. Bayley is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Great night. That was a great night. You want to talk about going for the shock. You want to talk about going for, really about the shock value. Really trying to go for the investment of, hey, we really appreciate the fact that you're going out of your way to watch this pay-per-view event as opposed to maybe a basketball game or whatever the fuck else is on, right? So I like the fact that, and I will say that overall, I do appreciate the fact that WWE tried to give fans tonight a little bit of value, a little bit of bang for their buck, for those that had tuned in and checked it out live and everything. So you can only imagine the repercussions that Charlotte is probably going to have towards Bayley coming up on this week's SmackDown and everything. But one major thing that you got to home in on is the fact that now that you've got the SmackDown title off of Becky, so Becky is now officially on the Raw brand. But remember, since you got that wild card rule, it's very well possible that we could still see Becky pop up on SmackDown here and there, right? So just kind of something to have in the back of your mind in the weeks to come. Remember I was telling you about the whole refs? Well, there was another spot where you just couldn't help but go, what's going on here? And the spot that I'm talking about, Strack is saying it was an elbow that Bayley had did. Let's just leave it at this. High risk maneuver that she did from the top rope paid off. Let's do it like that. That way it's clean, it's simple, and it's safe. Remember I was talking about a ref spot from earlier, right? Told you the refs, they kind of fucked up some key matches here. Let's talk about that Shane McMahon Miz matchup, steel cage. Look, man, I'm a fan of Miz. I am a fan of Shane McMahon. I'm more so a fan of Miz. Miz, for me, I've been waiting patiently to see Miz get back to the mountaintop as a WWE champion. I've been waiting a long time. And I feel like as long as I've been watching him in the WWE, seeing that reign that he had as a champion, looking at everything good that's been happening for this man. I'm not talking about his personal life, but just everything that has been happening with the Miz character up to this point. You can't help but say, well, with Miz in the position that he's in right now, what much more does Miz need to do in order to finally be the man, right? What is it that Miz needs to do to grace the front cover of Pro Wrestling Illustrated once again to be #1 out of the top 500? Like, well, what does he need to do, right? And I just feel like he's just been chipping away successfully, just little by little. And for me, you do the match with Shane O'Mac at WrestleMania. Okay. Thought for sure we were going to be done with those guys. But then, now we got a steel cage match. This has to be the one feud I'm not really interested in. It does nothing for me whatsoever. If it was a case where everything just pretty much ended at WrestleMania, I would have been fine with that. But for it to continue on, and now it continued on into a steel cage match. And see, I'm harping the way I'm harping because of the way the match had ended. Alright, so let's bring it on home and then we'll pick you on back. So, closing moments of this matchup here. At one point, you see the Miz do the skull-crushing finale on Shane O'Mac. You're going, okay, this is it. And this was after Shane O'Mac pretty much went belligerent on him with a steel chair. I mean, he was cracking the hell out of Shane O'Mac's back like a mofo, all right? So, shortly after he does all those chair shots, he then goes for the skull-crushing finale. You're going, oh, this is it. There's no way Shane O'Mac is kicking out after that. So, he covers him. We got the referee. He's counting 1. He's counting 2. And then you see Shane raise his foot up on the rope at the last second. You see that, you go, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. That doesn't quite make any sense whatsoever because this is a steel cage match. Like, anything goes. The only thing that matters is either you escape the steel cage, you score a pinfall, or a submission. So, Shane putting his foot up on the ropes, that doesn't mean a damn thing. The match keeps going. Referee should have counted 3. What the hell? So, the ref counts the 1, counts the 2, and he's looking at Shane's foot, and he's pointing at the foot and stops the count, and you're going, no, that's what the hell. And the commentators, really Corey Graves, and that's why I keep saying, as far as Corey Graves hey, he gets the nod for the night. Corey Graves, witted as I don't know what, jumps right in. Hey, this is a steel cage match. It's like disqualification is not even there. You either escape, you get a pinfall, or you get a submission. So why the ref? And I like how, look, if that was purposely done, that was in the script, okay. I just did not like how the refs on this particular night looked pretty damn fucking weak. That's my whole point. I did not like how they looked. They look like freaking imbeciles, all right? They look like knuckleheads out there. I'm not really sure what to do, right? Just, it was crazy. I just didn't like it. It was crazy for me. Match continued on. Even the fans were shitting on that. Even they did not like the finish. They're like, what the fuck? Like, even they were calling bullshit on it, all right? So it wasn't smooth how they had set that up. But I tell you what was smart, the way that match had ended. The way that match had ended, you ended up seeing a spot where Shane had climbed up to the top of the steel cage, and he was trying to get out. Miz climbed up, was fighting him. They were going back and forth, trading a few blows. And it seemed as though Miz had a good grip on Shane. It seemed as though maybe he was going to do some type of super back suplex or something like that to Shane. But he managed to wiggle his way out. And pretty much we see Miz trying to hold on to Shane for his dear life. And Shane pretty much wins the match by sliding out of his jersey and collapsing to the other side, the outside of the ring and everything, down to the canvas. And you're going, all right, so here we are once again. Miz picks up a defeat at the hands of Shane O'Mac. Where do we go from here now, right? You can't keep doing this, and at the same time, we'll be all right. You can't keep assuming that, because every time you keep putting Miz in the positions that you're putting him in, only to have him just that close, you're kind of hurting his stock a little bit. Now, I thought it was okay when it was all said and done. I still felt he should have won at WrestleMania, but tonight I felt as though Miz should have picked up the W. Without a shadow of doubt, Miz should have picked up the W. But it sadly did not go down like that, and now you can't help but wonder, is WWE really now pulling at the strings of the fans' patience with regards to this program that Miz and Shane, as it appears they're not done yet. It appears it's going to continue on. So, I don't know how they're going to really up the ante from this one. Where do you go from here? You can't keep doing a silly gimmick match if every time you turn around, right? You know what I'm saying? So we've seen them at WrestleMania. They pretty much put it all out there. We've seen them do this steel cage match, and they've pretty much put it all out there. Where do you go from here with these two men, right? Do you maybe do a I Quit match? What do you do? I'm writing this. That's kind of the direction I'm going. I think I'm going to say, all right, it's obvious that these two, they're continuing their feud. Well, I quit. That usually is the be-all, end-all, right? So if you don't go with an I Quit, it doesn't make any sense to go with a Hell in a Cell, because you pretty much just did a steel cage match, right? So do you maybe do a submission match? I kind of like the idea of an I Quit match. I don't know. To each its own. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Anyway, let's keep on going here. What other matches we got? Next matchup we got Rey Mysterio facing Samoa Joe for the United States Championship. That was pretty much a short matchup there. By the way, blood popped up a couple of times during this pay-per-view. One of the first ones was in this match between Rey and Samoa Joe. Love that spot. So basically, Rey, it was unintentional. You can play it back and you can see the spot in question, but Rey unintentionally kicked Samoa Joe in the face. Match wasn't that long, so you guys will exactly know the spot that I'm talking about, all right? From there, Samoa Joe just instantly starts bleeding profusely. It's really, really bad. There was even some blood around his eye, so I'm not really sure how much damage Rey Mysterio did to Samoa Joe's face. Hopefully, it's not a case where Samoa Joe's nose got broken in the process or whatever, but I tell you what, to see the amount of blood that was coming from Samoa Joe's face, I was eating that shit up. I loved it. And shout out to the WWE camera crew. They probably were instructed by Bruce Pritchard, because, Bruce Pritchard's back into the fold and everything. You kind of can't help but, since Bruce Pritchard was away, you had a case where when people were bleeding, you'd have the referees, they'd be so quick to bust out the gloves and yada, 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 and all that. Again, since Bruce has been away, and you stop and think about it, Bruce Pritchard has been away for a while now. But I thought it was so awesome how when Samoa Joe started busting up bleeding, here he is, Joe just, blood just, woo. And I mean, it wasn't profuse. You guys could probably have seen the thumbnail of our show and everything, but it wasn't bad, but it was, damn, do you need to get that checked out? And I love the fact that the camera crew just zoomed in. They did not do the silly ass pan away like they normally would do. I'm very curious how that's going to be playing out on the replay. If they're going to put that in black and white or whatever. I might actually go back and watch just to see how they do that for on demand. But I like how the cameras kept zooming in on Samoa Joe. So closing moments of that matchup. I remember there was a roll up that had occurred. I remember Samoa Joe had Rey Mysterio, and you're kind of wondering, okay, what type of a move is Samoa Joe trying to do here? Is he maybe trying to do some type of a power bomb or something? What's he going for? And somehow Rey Mysterio managed to counter that, turn it into like a roll up pin, and got the 1, got the 2, got the 3. He's now the United States champion, your new United States champion. We ain't see Samoa Joe after that. It was kind of like he disappeared. Dominic came out. They celebrated. Hey, great. Nice touching moment. Father-son going up the stage ramp. Next thing you know, Samoa Joe just wham. Attacks the hell out of Ray. Gets him back in the ring. Just continuing to destroy the hell out of him. You got Dominic looking on. He's saying, hey, stop, Joe, stop. You made your point. That's my dad. Don't do that to my dad. Joe doesn't give a damn. He's pretty much continuing his assault on Rey Mysterio, leaving him a helpless corpse. As once he's done with him, young Dominic finally goes in, checks in on his dad and everything. I gotta know what's the end game of this, right? We talked about this off and on the past couple of weeks. What exactly is the end game with this particular program as far as Dominic being inserted, right? What's going on? Is it maybe a case where I'm going to tell you my idea. I don't know if it's something that they would go down, but what I would like to see eventually happen, I know Dominic has been training for a while now. I hear he's a decent wrestler. So if the end game is for Dominic to have a match against Samoa Joe, then could we possibly be seeing a case come about where eventually Samoa Joe does what Chris Jericho and Randy Orton does? He do something that none of them were able to do to Rey Mysterio, which is not only unmask Rey Mysterio, but expose his face for all to see. Meaning the hard cameras, he being Samoa Joe, forces the hard cameras, grabs it, whatever he does, puts it on Rey Mysterio so his entire face is seen to the entire world. Is that maybe the case that's going to be happening here, right? I bring that up because if your way of having there be a program between Dominic and Samoa Joe, right? Okay, well, you could have Joe take off the mask. And since that's a sacred thing, right? It's a luchador, it's sacred, Mexican, it's all sacred and everything. that could pretty much be the very last time we see Rey Mysterio for a bit, right? And it kind of coincides with however he got his deal set up with the WWE and everything, right? So you see Dominic pretty much pick up the mantle, because remember, some of you all may have forgotten, but Rey Mysterio had got a couple of trademarks and copyright names, I want to say for his son, and sadly I can't remember the names right now. So you kind of got to have that in the back of your mind, wondering, well, what exactly is the end game for Dominic continuing to be involved in the picture here, right? So just a little something to think about, kind of get your brain rolling or whatever. If they're not going in that respective direction, which I think would be major badass, because I mean, you could always have Rey Mysterio come back at a later date, and you could have him don the mask again. If anything, maybe he could call himself something else, but then at the same time, WWE want to maximize on as much revenue as possible off of Rey Mysterio. I don't know if they would really be that fond of him going with a different name, but I could definitely see a case coming about where Rey Mysterio maybe comes back, puts the mask on once again, but maybe it's a different mask. Maybe the design is totally different or whatever, but I know just kind of something to play around with. But I got to know what the end game is, because continuing to have Dominic in there, it's all right, what are we doing with him? Because if Dominic was going to get attacked, should have happened by now, and the fact that it hasn't, this, out of all the feuds, this one has me the most perplexed, because I'm very interested. This is the one where I'm most curious. Where are we going, right? And I like these two guys. Their chemistry actually seems to be working pretty well. I must say, I really like what they're doing. Very interesting dynamics that they got going on. All right, let's talk about some more matches here. You guys been enjoying the show so far? If you have been, make sure if you haven't done so already, you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, so you never miss out on all the great content we do for you on a weekly basis. Normally, you can catch me Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern until the NBA season is over and done with. Then we go back to our regular nights of Tuesdays after SmackDown goes off the air. But for the time being, Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And you want more great content, check out Patreon, patreon.com/RCWR Show, $5 a month. Check out some bonus audio video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. So much more than wrestling. We got a lot of cool in-between fun stuff that we do for you guys. So check that out. By the way, we got to give a shout out to our Patreon members, because we love our Patreon members. So we want to take this time out and recognize them. Want to take this time out and recognize them. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas, good buddy of mine from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Who else we got? Shout out to John Davis. And I believe we said Michael Wolf, but if I didn't, I'll say it a second or a third time. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Appreciate our Patreon members. All right, let's continue on here. We only got a couple of more matches to talk about here. Let's keep it rocking. Let's keep it rolling. We had the Cruiserweight match, Daivari losing to Tony Nese, as Tony Nese retains his Cruiserweight title. It was really hard for me to get into this matchup. I got to be honest with you guys. Look, man, Tony Nese, he's got a phenomenal look, man. I mean, the physique, just the whole transformation he's been able to do with himself within recent years. I love it. I really do. But it's still just not clicking for me. I'm seeing too much of a gimmick when I look at him, right? And I get it. I get the reason for the whole gladiator / Spartan type of costume, He-Man thingamajigga that he's pushing. I get it, right? Because if you take all of that away, he sadly does not have a personality. And 205 is interesting, because 205, no matter how much time I spend not checking it out, and when I do drop in and I check it out occasionally, there's not that much progress made with certain stars, and he is one of them. And just as far as the personality standpoint, that's all I'm saying. Just the whole personality, clicking with the fans and everything, it's still not quite there. And I appreciate what WWE is doing by capitalizing on his physique and putting him in that type of gimmick and everything. And what he does in the ring, hey, no problem with that. I mean, that guy is spot on fucking good. Ariya Daivari, that, oh my god, that one, that's interesting. He's a decent wrestler, but, and I asked this question on social media, and maybe somebody can help in the chat that wants to defend him, but I don't understand his whole gimmick. I really don't. And I'll tell you why. I see him coming out in this car, and I couldn't help but go, okay, so what? Are you the new Alberto Del Rio? Are you the new JBL? I don't understand. I'm looking at that and I'm instantly going, wait a minute, if anybody should be coming out in a car, that should be Baron Corbin. That fits his personality to the T, especially with the type of cars that he drives and all the stuff that he's into. All right, that's more up his alley, right? If you're not going to give that to a Baron Corbin, then it kind of makes a little bit of sense to give that to Andrade, right? That makes all the sense in the world. Okay, well, if you're not going to give it to Andrade, then unless your man Alberto El Patron is coming back, then why are we giving the whole car and all that stuff to Ariya Daivari? That just was really, really... I see Austy's trying to enlighten me. He's saying he's been watching 205 and he has a I'm a rich type of gimmick. Yeah, it's not getting over. I mean, take away that pretty ass spinning lariat that he has. Other than that, there's really nothing. There's really nothing. And you know it's bad when you got the fans chanting boring and all that other shit. The fans just were not invested into this matchup. It was a damn shame. Speaking of which, the fans for this night, by the way, you know, they had their moments. Like when it came to that women's Money in the Bank match, other than Bayley, they didn't give not two shits about anybody else. Bayley, and even at that, Bayley got mild reactions. Now, when she won the Money in the Bank, and when she became the SmackDown Women's Champion, oh, they were in euphoria. They were in hog heaven over that. But man, when that women's Money in the Bank had opened up the pay-per-view, all them girls came out, no reactions. No reactions whatsoever. Looking at the rest, Miz got decent reactions. Shane got decent reactions. Yeah, them 205 guys, they really did not get any reactions whatsoever. It was just kind of like, you guys, right? Becky, decent reactions. It was all right. Lacey Evans, it was kind of one of those, well, the verdict is still out, right? It was kind of like that. Charlotte got her usual reactions. That was decent. But yeah, that 205 live match, you know, God bless them. I you know what? Honestly, that should have been on the pre-show. I hate to be a dick because I know there's some of you guys that really love your 205. But if I got to be candid, of all the matches, that 205 match should have been the pre-show. And I would have preferred to see Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan against the Usos on the actual pay-per-view card. That's just for me. You know, that's my wishful thinking. See what else we got. We tackled that. So we had Roman Reigns. He was seen in the backstage segment. He was getting ready to come out for his match against Elias, but Elias creeped up from behind him, smashed the hell out of him with an acoustic guitar, laid him out. And then from there, he proceeded to go out into the ring, had his whole musical shtick set up and everything. This go round, he was playing an electric guitar. And I tell you what, Electric Elias, I was loving that. Man, he made that electric guitar sing, man. Ooh, it was so smooth. You know, back in my day, I used to play a little bit of electric guitar. So it was really nice to kick back and, oh, Elias with an electric. I'm like, Okay, let's see what you got, brother. And he just made that electric guitar sing, man. I loved it. That was smooth. That was a really smooth segment that he had going on. So you give Elias a good opportunity to crack the big dog over the back, knock him out. You give him an amazing fucking segment, right? You give him an amazing fucking segment, and then pretty much after he's done, you have Roman Reigns come out, Superman punch, put his ass in the ring, spear his ass, match is over, right? So it's kind of like one of those, well, I guess if you're an Elias fan, Elias is just going to continue to keep doing what he's doing, and that's basically being enhancement talent, right? Okay, well, whatever, and, you're looking at Roman Reigns, and it's, yay, I guess, you won. Whoopee-doo, right? Hey, at least the match was short, all right? I mean, we can't really... Let's take the good with the bad. Take the bitter with the sweet. At least the match was short, right? At least we got an entertaining segment with Elias. And at least we did not have to watch a 10-minute match or whatever between Elias and Roman Reigns, right? Because Lord knows, that probably would not really have gone that well, right? As far as the fans' patience, yeah? Probably the match of the night. Actually, let's get to that in a little bit. So, Lars Sullivan. We already talked about him passionately on this past week's show. So we don't really need to rehash anything, right? But one thing I do want to touch upon, and that's the fact that with all of the stuff that came about, who booked this shit? That's my question. Who booked this shit? So you have Lucha House Party, Mexicans, mind you, come out. Oh, they're giving out little baby piñatas filled with candy and all of this other stuff. They just want to do nothing more than put smiles on people's faces. That's all they want to do. They want to spread nothing but love. They want to spread nothing but joy. They want for everybody to enjoy themselves, right? Because nothing pleases them more than putting smiles on people's faces. They're all about entertaining. Fiesta forever, right? But then we cue up the Metallica music of one Lars Sullivan. So keeping in mind that Lars Sullivan said this shit that he said in the bodybuilding message board forums, all that other shit, right? Who thought it would be a great idea to have Lars Sullivan come out and beat the shit out of some Mexicans? That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I don't know who booked that, but that just was not smart. Well, we couldn't put Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder in there. We couldn't put two local Connecticut indie wrestlers in there against him. We had to sacrifice the Lucha House Party, considering everything that's been coming about with Lars. Now look, that was silly. But it is what it is, alright? One other thing. Point of observation. Lars Sullivan, because I know these wrestlers, they usually like to make their rounds and see what different podcasts are saying about them and everything. My message to Lars Sullivan, ditch the buzz cut. Ditch the buzz cut. The buzz cut, it's not helping. It made him look older because you see the amount of, it looked like it was gray hair. I'm like, damn, Lars going gray so early. What the hell? And you hear that sometimes. Some people do go gray a little bit early, and he seems to have a little bit of that going on, or maybe that was just, I don't know. I would have to look at it again, but I swear I saw gray in his hair. But the buzz cut, whatever he had going on there, I wasn't feeling that haircut. It did not make him look as menacing as we've seen him within recent weeks, right? So I don't ever want to see that type of Lars again. I need to see the clean-shaven, bald-headed Lars. But I tell you what, it was kind of redeemed a little bit. And the way that it was kind of redeemed, it was redeemed from the standpoint of, at some point, Lars Sullivan got bloodied. I mean, his head was just, oh, I ate that up. Once again, you had the cameras going in checking all of that out, zooming in on your man Lars Sullivan. They did not pan away. You'd like to believe that was Bruce Pritchard. You would just like to believe that was Bruce, because since he's been gone, they have just been, no blood, nope, not doing it, nope. So, kind of like that blood element that was added as he was destroying the hell out of these three guys and everything, but still, let's see clean shaven, bald headed Lars Sullivan. That's what I need to see from here on out. So, one more match to talk about. That was the Seth Rollins AJ Styles match. That was actually a pretty damn good matchup. We know these guys had locked it up many years ago. I tell you what, this wasn't a match of the year candidate. I'll tell you that right now. But this was a damn good match. I would have to say it was probably, I would give it a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. The match was actually that damn good. I loved it. It started pretty slow. Really creeped up on you. The way that these two guys were going at it. And you could kind of tell that, okay, kind of filling each other out. They're just killing time. Milking the clock a little bit. They're going to crank it up in a little bit. And I would have to say probably after about 10 minutes is when they really started putting the hurting on each other. It was a really good technical matchup. I got to give it to them. I tell you what, though, man, the way that they were just countering each other left and right. Sometimes for me, I don't know how it was for some of you guys, but the match was actually confusing at times because they both were wearing the same color scheme. So just imagine if you're flipping and maybe you're showing a friend for the very first time a WWE pay-per-view and you're going, okay, yeah, here's the AJ Styles Seth Rollins match, and they both got long hair. They both have beards. They're both white. Well, Seth is, actually, biracial, but, most people are going to go with, two white guys, right? Until otherwise. But then you get down to the attire and the color scheme is the same. So it's kind of like, okay, no, seriously, like, which one's Seth and which one's AJ, right? So, it was one of those, and, I was waiting for Cole and the gang to say a little something as far as Seth Rollins is blah, 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 and AJ. I was waiting for them to say that, but they did not go there. So I thought that was kind of, okay, all right, y'all ain't going there, whatever, but all right, it's cool. It really should have gone there, though. But anyway, good technical matchup between both of these guys. I loved it. I actually want to see these two lock it up again. Many points you saw series of counters, and AJ Styles was selling for Seth Rollins like a motherfucker, man. I mean, you're looking at him, you're going, man, how many more super kicks can AJ Styles keep taking to the face here before Seth Rollins just finally does the stomp and just ends it already? Like, how much more can this guy keep taking? And man, it was a nice sluggerfest. I would have to say it was a straight up sluggerfest. Probably enjoyed that matchup. Out of all the matches, I'm just kind of going back and looking at the card one more time. Of all the matches, that's definitely my number one. Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch, that's my number 2. God, that can't be it. Is that it? Let me hang on here, guys. Let me look at this again. I can't believe that's actually it. Let me look here. You know what? Kofi and Kevin Owens, that was actually a decent matchup as well. Yeah, Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, that was actually a decent matchup as well for the WWE Championship. I don't know. The chemistry was definitely there. I will say that. But for me, there was just something that was kind of missing a little bit. But bless Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens is what really was the force that helped really get this match over. And it's just certain mannerisms, like, when you watch a Triple H match from time to time, it's just something I've kind of grown to appreciate in the later years. It's just whenever Triple H is in a position where he's being best by his opponent, he'll make these certain mannerisms that majority of the roster doesn't even do today. It's like just these little things that Triple H will do. Randy Orton is another one that does that. Cena is one that does that. Kevin Owens, a pro. I mean, he's always he just picks up instantly on shit. And for me, Kevin Owens is what really had helped get this match over and successfully tell the story that they had needed to. I tell you what, I laughed my ass off when it was going down to the final moments of the matchup and Kevin Owens takes off the boots of Kofi and he actually throws them at the audience. I laughed my ass off at that. I'm saying hopefully nobody really got seriously injured by that. But that was just, I laughed hysterically. And you see Kofi Kingston, he's got these dirty ass pink socks on his feet or whatever. I ate that shit up. That was hilarious. Kofi Kingston coming in, trouble in paradise. I mean, there was pretty much no controversy right there. The story that was needing to be told was you get rid of the New Day. Can Kofi Kingston go out there and win it? Can he win it on his own, or does he need help? So is his championship a fluke? What's going on? And at least on this night, until Billy Graham has something else to say, at least this night, the way that it was booked, Kofi Kingston does not need anybody in his corner at ringside. He can take care of business and everything. Come on, did anybody really suspect, in all honesty, that Kofi Kingston was going to lose the WWE Championship? Come on, man. We got to keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. We got to continue to keep hope alive. So, come on. Malcolm X Day as well. Happy belated birthday to the late Malcolm X. Come on. Nah. But, the pay-per-view overall, I would say rather decent. Looking at this entire card one more time. So, a grand total, we had about 12 matches. We pretty much went through all of them just now. Oh, let me see here. I would say 12 matches. Look here. You know what? The men's Money in the Bank, that was good. Seth Rollins, AJ, that was good. Becky and Lacey, that was good. Kofi and KO, that was actually good. That was actually good. Rey and Samoa Joe was good. Way too short. Barely 2 minutes. But that was rather decent. So what's that? We're up to about maybe 5 matches out of the 12. Charlotte and Becky was decent. But, it was kind of really, really short. So I can't really put too much stock into that. Bayley becoming the champion. Factoring that in. So, scale of 1 to 10. 1 to shit. 10 awesome sauce. I probably would give this pay-per-view Brock Lesnar coming in, winning, shock value. Minus Brock, it'd be a 6. Since that Brock element was in there, I would put that 7. 7 out of 10. I'm not going any higher. I'm staying firm at 7. What did you guys think of the pay-per-view? Sound off in the chat, and you can also sound off by casting your votes via Twitter, YouTube on the Communities tab, and also on Facebook. Now let's see what you guys are saying here. I'm going to check out Facebook first and check out the polls here. Read some of you guys' comments here before we get ready to wrap it up here. All right, let's see what we got here. So we're clocking in at about 90 minutes of the pre-show, which is not too shabby. All right, let me look here. No, that's not what we want. What we want is the poll. Let's go to the poll. I'm trying to find a Facebook poll, guys. Hang on. Yeah, Monday Night Raw is going to be interesting. Mick Foley is going to be announcing WWE's newest title. A little bit in the dark, man. I mean, honestly, all these new titles that keep getting introduced, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because sometimes it's a bit hard to keep track of the titles that's currently between the shows right now. So, as far as what title they're going to be introducing, you got me. Or is it going to be a title that maybe they're going to be reintroducing? That's the real question. So, I'm kind of in the dark with you guys. I mean, if you ask me straight up what I personally would like to see, I wouldn't mind seeing a new hardcore title. I miss the hardcore title. I miss the whole 24/7. I miss all of that. I really do. But you know, if you were to bring something like that back, it makes all the sense in the world to maybe retire the United States Championship. I'm just saying. So right now over on the Facebook page, and if you already cast your vote, that's good. You don't need to spam and go on the multiple platforms. Just pick a platform and cast your vote. On Facebook right now, we got 5 thumbs up. We got 9 thumbs down. Bullshit you not. All right, now over on the... Let's go to the YouTube community tab here. Let's open that up. And where are we here? YouTube's community tab. Let's open that up real quick here. And I haven't forgotten you guys in the chat. We'll get to what you all are saying in a bit here. Let's see what we got here. YouTube, where are you? There we go. All right, let's see what we got here. Community. Okay. All right, so right now we've got about... Ooh, interesting. So 29% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down, and right now we got a tie. Again, this is on the YouTube page. 29% of you are giving it a thumbs down, and we have a tie at 35% between thumbs up and staying in the middle. Let's go on over to Twitter, and let's see what you guys are saying on Twitter here. We'll probably have more of a better gauge on Twitter, because Twitter was the first outlet we put the polling results out here. Let's see. Okay, all right, so we've got... Interesting. So we got about... Interesting. Okay, so right now we've got about 58% of you that are going Brock frickin' Lesnar. 13% of you are staying in the middle. 21% of you are giving it a thumbs down. And 8% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So once again, 8% thumbs up, staying in the middle, 13%. 21% of you are giving it a thumbs down, and 58% of you Brock frickin' Lesnar. So interesting what we got right there. All right, and let's pop our head in the chat one more time here. I see some of you guys. Okay, so we got a 7.5 for the pay-per-view. All right, we got 1 vote for the TV title. Yeah, a decent amount of people in the chat here, man. Shout out to everybody that's checking out the stream live. And a big shout out to those of you that's going to be checking out the show. And on the downloads and on demand. Appreciate that as always. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Austin, I got to check out 205 just a little bit more. But I tell you what, every time I do check it out, it's kind of, you know, I miss Pac, man. I miss Pac. Miss Austin Aries. Them guys were tearing. Even Miss Enzo. Them guys was really working their magic there, man. Patty said that was awesome with Brock winning. Wasn't expecting it. Belts are changing hands. They want to put it on AJ, but don't want him hated. So Brock got that. Do you think that could be it? Potentially kind of follows up on what we were talking about earlier. Potentially. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? Steve is saying after the match was over between Becky, Charlotte, Lacey Evans helped Charlotte win SmackDown. Right, championship, yes. Bayley, yes. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to summarize what you're saying because you're basically doing a recap. So basically, you're proud of Bayley. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are happy for Bayley right now, man. A lot of people are. Yeah, I see another vote for Bayley. Oscar saying Bayley winning. That was a good thing. Let's see what else we got here. All right, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Hang on, guys. Is there any other comments here? Hang on. Bear with me here. Yeah, so we're pretty much good. And there you go. Okay, good. Yeah, we're all caught up. I was just reading, kind of skimming real quick, making sure we didn't miss anything. All right, so on that note, yeah, I'm going to stay firm. I'm going to say the pay-per-view was a 7 out of 10. That's final. That's official. So on that note, I do appreciate everybody that had tuned in to check out the live stream. I do appreciate that. And a special shout out to those of you that's going to be checking out the show on demand and on the downloads. Remember, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads for your favorite listening platforms. And if you have not done so already, do subscribe. Special shout out to those of you on YouTube. On top of hitting that subscribe button, make sure you click on the bell notification so you know about new content that comes your way on a weekly basis. And if you haven't done so, YouTubers, make sure you smash on that like, as we do appreciate that. Share, get the word out. Really helps us out. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR Show. And that is going to do it. So we got Monday Night Raw. That's going to be coming up. I think there's going to be an NBA game on Monday night, so I will sadly not be interacting with you all on Monday night. I probably should, since we're 2 weeks away from that Saudi Arabia pay-per-view event. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I can kind of multitask, and I'll pop my head in the chat on Discord and also on Twitter and see what you guys are saying about Raw. But if I don't hear from you guys this Monday during Raw, I will definitely interact with you guys once again this coming Wednesday, as your next show is going to be hitting on Wednesday, the 22nd. Will be coming on at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be a solid episode. We'll definitely talk about the recent passing of Diva Search Contest winner Ashley Mazzaro. A lot of stuff we'll be getting into. We'll also take a look at the AEW pay-per-view event, the Double or Nothing event that's going to be happening next weekend. A lot of stuff we're going to be getting into on this week's show. So make sure you stay connected. All right, guys, that is going to do it until next go around. Wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you all next go around. Adios.